Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to another edition of NASCAR Thunder 2004 on the channel. Another full race live stream with a realistic broadcast. As always, we do these every day on top of other related NASCAR content, so hit that subscribe button, hit the like button down below as well. That helps me out a ton. We're still on the road to 1,000 subs. Thanks for everybody tuning in here early Sunday afternoon, noon roughly start time, a little bit later today. By a couple minutes at least, so nothing too major. But we are about to get into this one. The formerly known as California Speedway, then Auto Club Speedway. Now it's going to probably be Auto Club Speedway, but it's going to be a short track. We are on the 2-mile oval. At this point in time, it was pretty freshly repaved, only about 6 years of wear and tear on it, so really nothing much. It's fast, it is grippy. We're going to see how today's race is going to go. Ethan, Noah, and welcome to the stream. So yeah, no qualifying, no practice coming into today's race. First time this year we have not qualified or practiced for a race, so we'll see how this is going to go here today. We're going to hope for the best. Looks like Kenny Wallace just blew an engine there in practice, so we're going to be starting from the rear with Terry Labonte, coming off of back-to-back wins, starting to claw back into the early season points contention coming into tonight. We're up to 16th, but remember, we were 38th just 4 races ago, so we've won 3 of the last 4. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream as well. We're going to be competing with the NFL again here today because their playoff games start here in less than an hour, but without further ado, we're going to hop on into this and we're going to have fun with this 500-mile race today.
We're in Fontana, California, home of the California Speedway for today's Auto Club 500. It's another great day for racing. We should see a lot of green flag racing in this one.
Yeah, and what makes these long green runs interesting is that although the cars are all relatively similar, they can have very different pit windows. That can play a very important role at the end of the race for determining who has to pit again and who can go the distance.
Rusty Wallace has put together a great season so far.
Oh yeah, and all these guys in the top 5 are fighting hard week in and week out to gain as many points as possible. It's harder to pick up spots once you're into the top 5.
Jeff Green was the 2000 Busch Series champion, thoroughly dominating everyone on the circuit that year.
Plus, he was the runner-up in 1999 and 2001. He'd like to get the finishes and the consistency he enjoyed over that 3-year run here in Winston Cup.
Terry Labonte has really shown some muscle in his qualifying this year.
Man, is it paying off for those guys. Seems like each and every week that car is starting in the top 10.
Roll through today's starting lineup as the cars are rolling up onto the racetrack for their pace laps. We're going to start things off with the front row here today. Michael Waltrip and Tony Stewart will be on the front row. Waltrip, it's his second pole of the year. Stewart in the top 10 of the point standings. No wins for him, though, so far. Matt Kenseth and Elliott Sadler will be in row 2. Kenseth has 1 win this year at Darlington. 4 races ago, Sadler still winless. In row number 3, Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Neither driver has won out of those 2 so far this year. Bobby Labonte and Kurt Busch will be in row number 4. In row number 5, it'll be Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace. Ricky Rudd lost an engine early in the race yesterday at Martinsville after qualifying on the front row. Jerry Nadeau and Robbie Gordon will be in row number 6. In row number 7, it'll be Kenny Wallace and Ryan Newman. Newman's had a bunch of terrible luck so far this year. We'll see if he can get it turned around today. Ricky Craven and Hermie Sadler will be in row number 8. Craven, our Daytona 500 winner. Yes, we are running the Looney Tunes paint scheme today, by the way. The other one we did not run, at least with the Wile E. Coyote on it as well. Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin will be in row 9. Sterling Marlin and Joe Nemechek in row 10. Marlin had a tough break yesterday as well. DNF'd with an engine failure in the last 100 laps after running top 3 all day. Jimmy Johnson and Jeremy Mayfield will be in row 11. Johnson was a winner at Texas this season. Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon will be in row 12. Burton's had a couple of good races lately, and for Gordon, he won one of his races already this year on a 1.5 mile at Atlanta. Jeff Green and Johnny Benson will be in row 13. In row 14, it'll be Kyle Petty and Christian Fittipaldi. Joshua Rumsey, welcome to the stream. Not watching the video, watching the chat. Brett Bodine and Ken Schrader back in row 15. Kevin LePage, I was looking at the row behind that. Mike Skinner and Ashton Lewis in row 16. Kevin LePage and Kevin Harvick will be in row 17. Harvick hasn't had that strong of a season up to this point either. In row 18, Steve Park and Casey Mears. In row number 19, Jack Sprague and Stanton Barrett. Ward Burton and Chase Montgomery will be in row 20. In row 21, it'll be two rookies of Jamie McMurray and Greg Biffle. And rounding out the field, Terry Labonte has 3 wins on the year. We'll see if he can go from the rear to the front here today. Well, without further ado, Michael Waltrip will lead the field to the green at the California Speedway this afternoon. Green flag in the air. 500 miles in the Auto Club 500 here today. And without practice or qualifying, Labonte better hope his setup is correct, or it could be a rough go. Tried to add a little bit more downforce to try and help with the grip, and I took a little bit of wedge out of it from what my original adjustment was, just to be safe, at least for the opening run. Already 3 by 3 through the field, down the back straightaway here. Labonte wants to be a little patient. Not like he's going to get a competition yellow with no practice or qualifying. Oh, huge checkup! Almost a crash off of turn 4. Couple cars got together. Labonte's quickly up to 26th after the first lap of the race, as he was able to evade full speed to the inside of the racetrack. Now he's got nobody around him. And that just stacked up about half the field on lap 1 off of turn 4. Couldn't tell who it was that initially made the contact there, but man, oh man. Yeah, the back of the car looks really cool with this paint scheme. Definitely going to need some good luck here today as well. Yeah, I have the Titans in my 3-team parlay that I picked today. Predicting the Saints, the Titans, and the Steelers to win. And the Titans were the only, I guess, underdogs, you could say, that I had picked. Ravens are favored by 3 points, I believe. Which they have been playing better lately compared to the Titans, but the last 2 matchups between those 2 teams, the Titans won, so I trust that they'll be able to win it again. They're still going 3 by 3 up towards the front here. That's probably what happened. It was probably more than just side by side off of 4, and they just got all tangled together, but luckily there was no big accident as we stay green. R6, welcome to the stream. Whoa, Labonte got a little loose off of turn 4. He went up the middle. 3 wide. Kurt Busch trying to side draft in there a little bit too. Labonte is just moving through this field. It definitely helped that he was able to pass half the cars on lap 1 due to some contact off of turn 4, middle of the pack ahead of him. Labonte gets really loose down the straightaways. That car is wiggling quite a bit. And it just did it again there down the front stretch. I think the Rams are going to play the... Yeah, we either play the Rams or the Bears. If the Bears win today, we play Chicago. But if they don't win, we play the Rams. Ooh, boy. Big moment there. Contact between Joe Nemechek and Terry Labonte. Labonte started skidding on the inside of the racetrack, washed up right into the left front of his teammate Nemechek. Somehow Labonte kept it off the wall. I'm surprised that didn't just flat out turn him, and he could have hit the wall head on there. Look at how much time he lost, too. Such a momentum racetrack. Even with these Gen 4 cars. So fast, well over 200 miles an hour, typically going off into turn 1, lap after lap after lap. This was known as one of the fastest tracks on the circuit back in the early 2000s. Bonnie trying to block Kurt Busch now down the back straightaway. Racing hard early on. I put my laptop in like the most terrible spot possible because it's like right in front of my steering wheel. I might have to try adjusting that at the first caution or pit stop, whatever happens first, because I have like where the chat's at, the top of my steering wheel's in the way, like at the bottom of the chat. So it's kind of messing with me when I'm trying to read the chat. I don't know why I put it right there. I figured it was going to be out of the way. I've been putting it in front of the steering wheel for about a week since I got the new camcorder, but for whatever reason today, the steering wheel's in the way of me trying to look at it. Kurt Busch just got around Terry Labonte there. Labonte really drifting up the racetrack. He had to lift quite a bit there. Some of these other guys he already passed in the opening couple laps are starting to reel him back in again. I believe the fuel run is going to be anywhere between 40 to 50 laps today. Labonte trying to break the draft on the inside. Not letting Elliott Sadler or Kyle Petty try to draft him down the front straightaway. Bonnie really good through turns 1 and 2 that time. Sadler going to make a pass on Petty as well. Hopefully Labonte's not getting slower over the course of this run because we're already to lap 10. We'll see. We had 10 cautions in last night's race at Martinsville, in which Labonte was able to get the win. First driver to go back-to-back this season. Labonte's still the only driver that's won more than one race. He's got 3 wins in the first 9 races. But he's won 3 of the last 4, and he's the hottest driver on the racetrack in recent weeks. Next race of the season will be at Richmond tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then the All-Star race the following night. Labonte is locked into the All-Star race with those 3 wins he's had this season. It's about 5 seconds off the lead right now. It's still a long race, so he's not too worried about it. If he keeps dropping back over the course of the run, just stagnating right around 20th, that could be a little nerve-wracking as far as trying to increase speed going forward. Again, the lack of practice and qualifying might hurt with the setup at the start of today's race. And we'll see on the longer run how the handling is going to be. And Labonte's likely going to be making adjustments all day long. Definitely an interesting and different approach to this race compared to what we've had for other races this year. Labonte was really fast that last lap, though. He did something right, and he got around Nadu. Working on his teammate Joe Nemechek right now as well. Hooked the bottom beautifully in 1 and 2. Nemechek's trying to crowd him a little bit. Trying to stay right on his corner panel on the exit. Labonte clears Nemechek before they get into 3. Aggressive block as he tried to get a huge draft off of Robbie Gordon ahead of him. Nemechek got a huge pull on the outside. What a run by Nemechek off of 4 to get right back around Terry Labonte. Labonte's Share drafting him now down the front stretch. Maybe trying to help his teammate out. Labonte looks low, back underneath Nemechek again. Seems like Terry's a little bit better in 1 and 2. Joe Nemechek seems to be a little bit better in 3 and 4. These guys are battling hard. Labonte really drove it off deep into turn 3. Got it to stick. Drafting Robbie Gordon down the front stretch. Big run to the inside of both Robbie Gordon, and now it looks like Bill Elliott as well, who's trying to block Gordon for position. He couldn't block Labonte in that run he had to the inside, and Terry Labonte's up to 17th. As high as he's been in the running order here early on. Robbie Gordon back to the inside of Elliott for position off of turn 2. Jackson Thomas, welcome to the stream, doing pretty good. Early Sunday afternoon. I watched a lot of that Washington and Tampa Bay game last night. I think I watched all of it now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I watched all of it because I saw the very end of the Seattle and Rams game when we got done streaming. Watched about the last quarter and a half, but it was actually a pretty good game last night too. I was rooting for Washington. I wanted to see that Heineke pull it off. He played a heck of a game. Outside of that one interception he had, on that, first possession or second possession of the game that they had the ball, he played really good. And he was basically playing hurt after he scored that one touchdown. Something with his shoulder. Jeff Gordon's falling outside the top 15. Terry Labonte starting to run him down. It's a different paint scheme on the car this season. Races 3 through 6 this season. That one only had the Roadrunner on it. This one's got Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. It's kind of got an orange back of the race car, too. It's not blue all the way around. Bonnie working on by his teammate Gordon. Clears him. Went all the way down to the apron to take the shortcut on the front stretch, and it worked for him. Bonnie's trying to break the draft on Gordon. Labonte does have really, really good grip in that race car, though. These tires are holding up fine. And honestly, after starting at the back and without any practice laps, he's running about as well as he could for the opening 20 laps of today's race. Not a lot of tire fall off up to this point in the run, at least. We'll have to see if that's going to continue. But a lot of it's probably because he's been running super, super steady as well. You can really tell since that Bristol race he has been extra patient for most of the race. Martinsville, he had a little bit of a run in there midway through the race where it didn't look to be that way, but he ended up finishing off strong. Boy, Labonte got really loose getting into 3. Right when he was starting to close in on Jeff Green for position, too. How quickly that run died out for him. He's been consistently about 4 to 5 seconds off the lead since about 5 laps in as well. Not really losing time, but he's not gaining much of it either, at least on the race leader. Yeah, I mean, technically, I'm from Ohio, so there's a lot of Browns fans and Lions fans, because we're only about an hour and a half from Cleveland, but we're a little bit closer to Detroit. We're about an hour and 15 minutes out. So that's why most of my teams I root for are Detroit, except for, obviously I'm a Packers fan when it comes to football, but University of Michigan too. I'm like 2 hours north of Columbus, about an hour and a half south of Ann Arbor. The University of Michigan is. So those are kind of my hometown teams. Track position is definitely key here at Fontana. Definitely a one-groove racetrack at this time, but granted every track at this game is a one-groove track. But the difference with this one is you really need a lot of drafting help down the straightaways. Helps so much. You saw how big of a pole Labonte got going into one. Watch him draft Jeff Green down the backstretch. And he was about 7-8 car lengths behind him going into the back straightaway. Coming out of the back straightaway, going off into turn 3, he closed into about 3 to 4 car lengths off of him. I'll try to draft him again down the front stretch. Again, right back to about 6, 7, 8 car lengths back. And then by the time they roll off into turn 1, he's about 1 to 2 car lengths back. Look at how much ground he's able to close. The draft really pays factors here at California. And Labonte's going to try to pass him on the outside. He hasn't tried to do that on a car yet today. He got a great run off of turn 2. Green tried to hold the bottom. Labonte's like, all right, I'll go high. And Jeff Green just bounced right into the 5 of Labonte. Out of the groove goes Labonte, and Green hangs on to this position. But now Labonte got another run in the draft and actually clears him before they get into turn 1. That time he passed him on the inside. Darren Dill, welcome to the stream. 8 people watching. Pretty consistently, too, right now, so thanks for everybody tuning in. 7 likes already as well. Thanks for that. And you guys have been awesome hitting that like button lately. Especially 2 nights ago. I was just looking at that. That's up to 32 likes now. The stream on NASCAR Heat 5 at Texas. Although these 500-mile races are longer, both the NASCAR Heat 5 and NASCAR Heat 4, it seems like I bring in a lot more views for it. Now, granted, obviously, again, with it being a longer race by about a half hour, 45 minutes, that definitely helps, but it's, noticeably better. And I've kind of seen that in the early going of today's stream. You guys joining in pretty early. Usually it takes till about midway to late in the race before we get up to about, 15-plus viewers. But the 500-mile races, usually, with them being longer, you guys get here before the end of the race, and you're here from about, 100 to go or so, and then stick around to the end. Yeah, that was definitely a close finish, that's for sure. Logano able to win and get into the championship 4. Bonnie trying to draft Rusty Wallace. So these guys can go to about lap 50 to 52 for Labonte. If he can make it just to lap 50 every time and just stay consistent with that, that would be huge. Wow, how fast Labonte's going right now. Huge draft off of Rusty Wallace. Then he got to the inside of him and he was able to draft Michael Waltrip, passed both cars down the front stretch, and he's up to 13th. Waltrip looked low to try and cross him back over, but Labonte stayed really steady through 1 and 2, and Waltrip couldn't quite get back underneath him. Kurt Busch is really moving through the field as well. He was back there with Labonte in the opening laps, and he just kind of pulled away from him after he had passed him earlier on. Labonte's only 2.9 seconds off the lead now. Remember, he was consistently 4 to 5 seconds back. Could have some long-run speed tonight that could be helping him out. Tire wear hasn't really been bad at all. Wow, look at the block by Sterling Marlin. on the outside, but at least it was a clean one. That's all that Labonte really cares about. You can block a lot, but as long as you don't make contact, push those fenders in on anybody's car, it's not as bad. They'll be able to pass Sterling Marlin down the front stretch. Labonte's really showing some good straightaway speed, whether he's in the draft or not, though, today. That's always key when you go to these 2-mile and bigger racetracks. We got a lot of bigger tracks coming up. We obviously have California today, and we do go short track racing at Richmond tomorrow. Then you got the Coke 600, but then after that, you go to tracks like Pocono and Michigan coming up really close on the schedule. Indianapolis in the summer months, back to Daytona, road course, which is longer, at Sonoma, and then Watkins Glen. So, I mean, these summer races, a lot of big, fast racetracks. Just came off of Talladega 2 races ago also. Bonnie able to get back around Kurt Busch. Got a huge pack of cars. Oh, wow, Junior tried to go 3 wide up the middle there between Jimmy Johnson and Terry Labonte. Labonte getting a big run on the back of Ricky Rudd. They're 3 wide into turn 3. Labonte was in the middle. Junior just sent it off into turn 3 on the bottom. Labonte had to get out of the gas quite a bit there to keep from wrecking that race car. He's down to the apron now as he gets underneath Johnson and Rudd 3 wide again, this time into turn 1. Contact with Junior. They hang on to it. Johnson kind of pinching Rudd up the racetrack. Rudd's not mad enough to take a swing at Labonte, by the way, right now. He's at about minus 56. Used the Got Milk car at Richmond. Might just have to do that. Labonte trying to make a pass on Jimmy Johnson. He does that time. For 8th. Clears him. Rudd trying to follow Labonte's line. We haven't used... There's 2 more paint schemes we haven't used yet this year. We haven't used the Mini Wheats car yet, and we haven't used the Got Milk paint scheme yet. With a 36 race schedule, as far as like the points races go, though, I can actually run each scheme 6 times throughout the course of the year, which is kind of what I plan on doing. Big pass on Ricky Craven. Craven with another top 10 run. He finished 9th at Martinsville yesterday after getting into a crash earlier on, so he had a great rally there. And he's running, wasn't 6th, now he's back to 7th. But still in the top 10 here today as well. Ricky Craven's had such a stellar season so far. 1 win already, winning the Daytona 500. 4 top 10s in the first 9 races. For him and that team, that's pretty solid. At least 4. They might have 5 after yesterday's. He just got loose through the tri-oval there. Yeah, like the original Tony the Tiger's paint scheme, yeah, we've got that. We ran that a couple times at the start of the year, first 2 races. Plus all the way through Speed Weeks and the, obviously with the duel and the Bud Shootout as well. Next stream is at 6 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time as always, and then that will be at Richmond for NASCAR Thunder 04. Bonnie really fast here on the longer run. He's starting to pass more and more cars. Oh, and he didn't quite clear Bobby. A little contact. Barely cleared him. A little contact with Stewart. That washes Labonte all the way up the track. He's trying to hang on to it for a while there, and he just couldn't do it. Enough to at least keep his positions on the racetrack that he gained down the front stretch, but luckily it's better than getting into the outside wall, especially at these high-rated speeds. Mike Skinner going a lap down early on. Terry Labonte gets around Stewart for 3rd. Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, right in front of him, Martin being the leader. Labonte's drafting Jarrett. Jarrett drafting Martin down the back straightaway. All three of those guys going really fast right now as Jarrett takes a peek to the inside. He wants a shot at the lead on Martin. He's going to get there. Labonte tried to draft Jarrett as well. To the inside goes Labonte. 3 wide for the lead to the line. Martin leads the lap by 16 one-thousandths of a second. Oh boy, Labonte tried to clear them both into one. He did not clear Martin, but he did clear Jarrett. So a little bit of contact there. But Labonte's going to take his first lead of the race regardless, and Jarrett is going to get the second. From the rear to the front, Martin now trying to cross over on Jarrett for second place. I'm sure Martin lost a lot of momentum after that contact with Labonte on corner entry. And Martin will get back around Jarrett for second place, so he hasn't cleared him yet. Trying to get a draft off Terry Labonte. Labonte gets 5 bonus points as he leads his first lap at lap 39 here today at Fontana. Huge pack of cars inside the top 10 as we just saw, obviously, but even look at the track map and how bunched together they are. But Labonte and his long run speed really paying off so far today. Already a 1 second lead on Mark Martin. Ooh, we'll brush off the wall off of turn 2. Nothing too much. Very, very barely hit it. That's the first time he's hit it today. Very lightly. He tried to get on the brakes in time, but just couldn't quite do it. Obviously, with no practice, too, we haven't tried to enter pit road, so we don't know how that's going to go when the time comes either. Looks like Jarrett's back to the inside of Martin for position again. Might actually be a lap car of Ashton Lewis that's in the way. Because Jarrett was still about 2 to 3 tenths behind Martin, at least at the start-finish line. Dude named Dale, welcome to the stream, man. .40 laps complete early on. In the Auto Club 500 at the California Speedway, Labonte has just taken the race lead for the first time today a couple laps ago. Really showing that long run speed. And quickly out to about a 1.4, almost a second and a half lead over Mark Martin. Think Brothers, welcome to the stream as well. Playing mini golf. Nice. I have not mini golfed in a really long time. Like I mean, I golf so much like regularly, like that's probably why I haven't played mini golf in a while. I've probably played mini golf like maybe once or twice since I actually started playing golf. I suck at mini golf. It's nothing like putting on an actual green. Like there's nowhere close. So, like me trying to like take it too seriously, it's like I just suck at it. Oh, nice. Your All-Star race is coming up today. Yeah, I don't think this race is going to get over until about 3, so I probably won't be able to catch it. But that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm getting pretty close. I think we're only 2. Oh, man. Bonnie got really loose into turn 1 there. But I'm pretty sure I'm just 2 races away. I think we're planning on running that on Tuesday night for my All-Star race. But best of luck to you as well. I know with you running the career mode, that's probably going to mean a lot more for you. Obviously, I just run mine with the race now because it doesn't actually have it built in the season mode. I know it didn't for the custom schedule, at least. I don't think it does it for this one. I mean, it might. I doubt it. It's been a long time since I've played this game up until the playthroughs that we've done. Green flag pit stops will be coming up here very shortly. I wouldn't be surprised if we see anybody starting the short pit in the next couple laps. Labonte can probably make it to about lap 52, I believe is what we're looking at. He went halfway on fuel at about lap 27, so lap 51, 52 is probably what we're looking at. Which he can make this a 4-stop race today if he could just make it to lap 50 during each run, which would be ideal if we get long green flag runs, which things get spread apart pretty easily at this racetrack. It's very well possible that that would be the case. Oh, man! Kevin LePage about ran into the back of Biffle. They checked up right in front of Labonte. Labonte couldn't check up in time, and he made contact with LePage as well. I'm not sure how that happened. I don't know if Biffle was trying to pull a block or LePage just mistimed his pass on Biffle, but one way or another, a little bit of a sketchy moment right in front of the leaders.
Our tires won't help us. Be careful.
Thanks for leaving a like, by the way, as well. Great to see you in the chat, though, Dale. Again, good luck to you today. Three-and-a-half-second lead over Bobby Labonte. Jr. actually took second last lap. He falls again back to third. Jimmy Johnson's back into the top 5, up to fourth. Running at his home track here today as well. Labonte's starting to get a little bit looser later into this run. Eee. Really loose off of turn 2. Had a hard time trying to keep it off of Sprague on the inside of him. Probably just going to have to start backing up these corners a little bit better on the longer run instead of trying to throw it off in there like the tires are fresh. Dale Jarrett back to 5th. Mark Martin, once they hit lap traffic, he not only lost the lead, but he isn't even in the top 5 anymore. And once Labonte gets around Stanton Barrett, there is no lap traffic for almost a quarter of a lap. Can give Labonte a little bit more clean air and run some clean laps before he comes to pit road. Probably not even going to catch another lap car until pit stops start. So lap 50, about 200 laps to go still. Again, a 500-mile race at California. Not used to the 400-mile races that we have seen in recent years at this racetrack. First comers on the pit road, this time by lap 51 now. Kind of figured we were going to start seeing pit stops. I'm surprised they took it that far, but I guess they're in a similar boat. Try to make it to lap 50, at least, to try and make this a 4-stop race today, if it does go green all the way to the end. We have not had a caution-free race yet this season. We had 2 of them on Season 1 in the Daytona 500, and then at Michigan. Had a couple races where we only had 2 or 3 cautions, but no caution-free races yet. I'm sure we'll get one at least at some point this year, if not more than once. Seen a lot of AI crashes this season. Like the Daytona 500, we had like 2 or 3 big ones like from the AI alone. And then obviously we got caught up in one with less than 20 to go, trying to block and hold on for positions, but we'll see how this is going to go. About 7/10 of a second of fuel left. Or 7.7 gallons of fuel left. Said it like it was an interval time, and I don't know why I did that. We're humans, I guess our brains just get scrambled from time to time. But mine definitely did there. Full tank is almost empty, yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be full anymore, but... Pretty sure you meant fuel. About 4/10 of a gallon of fuel left. Bonnie wasted about 3/10 of a gallon that last lap. Well, Bonnie's going to stretch... No, he's going to come to pit road. We're already past lap 50. No sense of trying to stretch it. Going to take it really easy trying to get onto pit road here. 70 miles per hour is the pit road speed limit for every track in this game. And easily gets there. 4 fresh tires, full tank of fuel, and actually no adjustments for Labonte. Hit on the setup perfectly coming into the race today. So no changes needing to come here. Green flag stops continue at the California Speedway. Thought about taking another lap, but it wasn't worth the risk and losing more time. We had some drivers short pit already who are probably gaining track position on us because we started seeing pit stops about 3 laps before Labonte hit pit road here at lap 53. No mistakes on this opening pit stop for Labonte's crew. That has been a huge factor in his green flag and both caution pit stops this season. A lot of mistakes by the pit crew, but here today, at least through stop 1, nice and clean, and a pretty decently fast pit stop as well. Bonnie staying on the apron of the racetrack. Plenty of room to pull back up, though, down the back straightaway. Now, he's still on the lead lap. That's a nice thing with this being a 2-mile racetrack, and he had about a 5-second lead when he came to pit road. Bonnie shown in 5th, so at least 4 cars stayed out a little bit longer than him. I did not listen to it. As soon as the stream was over yesterday, honestly, I kind of forgot about it, to be completely honest, but as soon as the stream was over yesterday, I got on my laptop and I was, uploading the pre-streams, I guess, the scheduled streams for the week, because I always do that after my stream on Saturday, depending on what time it is. I either do that on Saturday night, depending on what time I can get off of work, or Sunday afternoon when I'm not working. Just really depends. But I had time yesterday because we ran a little bit earlier in the day, so I did that yesterday, and I was watching some football when I was doing it. And then when I got done with that, it was like 8 o'clock, and it was still time for football. Continued editing my Race of the Week stream. That will be up later today as well. Our Race of the Week from last week will be up today. I want to upload those every Saturday or Sunday. It'll vary. It just depends on what the Race of the Week is. Our Race of the Week was on Friday, so I couldn't start editing it until yesterday. I was actually doing it a little bit on my first break at work for about 15 minutes on my phone, and kind of did the rest when I got home. Most of it. It's not all the way done, but it's most of the way done. It will be from Texas. It'll be the highlights from the Texas race on Friday. I mentioned something about it before. I think it was like late last summer that I was going to start doing that. But I didn't do it right away because I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do it. But I figured just doing one race a week is good. I was about to say, doing it for like every race, but if I did that, I'd have to stream every other day because I wouldn't have enough time to stream every day and do that. But I can definitely do it once a week, and if I'm doing it once a week, I'll pick the best race from the week. And Texas Cup race on NASCAR Heat 5 was our race of the week this week. NASCAR Heat 5, first 2 weeks of 2021, gets the race of the week. I don't know what time that's going to upload exactly, but it will upload. Well, this race is probably going to get done at 3, so I'll probably finish up the last little bit of editing, making sure the audio's in sync during a couple of the football games today when I'm done streaming, and then probably looking at about 6, 7, 8 o'clock or so when that drops. We saw Labonte struggle with the short run speed for about the first 20 laps of the race today. He was actually getting passed by cars. Instead of holding on to the track position, middle of the pack once things got spaced out. And Jimmy Johnson's closing that gap on him. Hendrick Chevrolets look really fast again today. Hendrick as a whole is on a rampage right now. They've won the last 4 races, Labonte winning 3 of them, Johnson with a win at Texas in that stretch. And not only that, but they've won 5 of the last 6 races. Outside of that one win at Darlington by Matt Kenseth, remember Gordon even won at Atlanta the race before that. So Hendrick Motorsports has had 3 drivers win in the last 6 races, and they've won 5 of the last 6 as a team. They are definitely dominating the early going of the season right now. Although they are dominating as far as race wins go, none of them are in the top 2 in points. Those top 2 spots in points right now are Dale Jr. leading the way by only 8 over Matt Kenseth. They've been going back and forth a lot right now. I think they've traded the points lead in each of the last 4 races. Because Kenseth took it back the second to last race, and then Junior took it back again after yesterday's race. Junior's running really well early on. So is Kenseth, but Junior's been in the top 5 a little bit more. I think Kenseth was in the back half of the top 10 last we saw him. Ricky Rudd's back up to 3rd place. Dale Jarrett back into the top 5, and Johnson fell from 2nd to 4th that last lap alone. Fresh tires feel extraordinarily nice on this race car compared to what we were at the end of the run. Alright, hopefully you can make it back by the end of the stream, Jackson. Same for you, Tim, if you're still watching right now. I'm not sure if you are or not. I know your football game's coming on soon. Guesstimating correctly. We had a little bit of a lag there. Said there was no connection there for a couple seconds, and then it went to excellent connection. I think it was just buffering and refreshing. Be back in about an hour or so. Okay, cool. Well, hopefully you don't miss much. We'll see. Yeah, if it starts lagging, just give it a couple seconds. That's just YouTube at this point, because I have 5G Wi-Fi. Since I got it upgraded a couple months ago, we haven't had an issue with it since. Actually, no, we had an issue with it once. But I don't think it was the actual Wi-Fi. Well, it kind of was. Like, somehow, I got disconnected from the Wi-Fi, so it, paused the stream. I had to figure out why the stream paused, and it took me a couple minutes to realize that the Wi-Fi wasn't even connected anymore, so I just reconnected it and we were fine. I don't know why I did that. I don't know if it was just a spur of the moment thing. I don't know how that was working. Bonnie's had nothing but clean air since coming off of pit road about a dozen laps ago. Good for him. It'd be kind of cool to see our first caution-free race of the season today. Bonnie's got no rivals, at least as of right now, unless something crazy happens. He's had a fairly clean race. He's only gotten into the wall once. Off of turn 2, barely. Barely grazed it. We're going to alternate to the different camera angles for the first time in today's race. Starting at the start-finish line right here at lap 67. A couple lap cars coming into the picture in front of Labonte now. Kenny Wallace being one of those 2. It'd be cool if this luck stays on Labonte's side just with a good run again today. Not having G-Zit on the car too. Had some good luck there. Three wide pass to the inside, going off into turn 3. Labonte just gripped up that corner perfectly, getting by both Schrader and Wallace. Both the Kennys in the field. A 3.3 second lead on Bobby Labonte now. So the lead got cut down to about 2.5 seconds before Labonte slowly starting to pull away again. So again, he hasn't really had any bigger than a 5-second lead today. But he has led just over 40 laps now. All 3 races he's won this year, he's led the most laps as well. And he's clinched the most laps led in 5 races of the first 9 so far this year. But 2 of them, he couldn't get the win. One was a 14th place finish at Texas, and then the other, unfortunately for him, was a DNF at Darlington. Big slide going off into turn 1. A big issue, gripped up pretty well in the center of the corner.
Don't worry about Bud. He's feeling nice today. Got one out. The 11 car wants to get by you.
Nice clean pass on Brett Bodine. I just realized under the first pit stop I forgot to move my laptop just a hair. Steering wheel's still in the way. Yeah, I think, brothers, if you got anything to ask or anything, yeah, you just go right ahead. You don't have to get my attention by saying my name. Just go right ahead and say it. I'll 9 times out of 10 be able to look at the jack, especially today. It's a little easier on these longer racetracks with these longer straightaways like California. When we were at Martinsville yesterday, I had a hard time trying to keep up with the chat every now and then, but well, it's not really like much of a strategy, but no, I didn't use the arrow keys to, or the keypad to try and steer the car. Oh, I do not. I tried it for a quick second there down the straightaway, and that would definitely take some getting used to. It's like it turns the car too much. Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not gonna really end up doing that. It's more comfortable for me to use the analog stick. Some people do use it. I mean, I've heard of people using it. I feel like if you get loose or your car's like more out of control, it's a lot easier to save with the analog stick because you can have like a quicker right to left motion versus using the keypad. Like, it's not much quicker, but you gotta figure your thumb's already on it versus having to take your thumb off of one of the keypads and onto the other. Like, it's just naturally quicker to use the analog stick. But if you can make the keypad work, kudos for you. It's called a D-pad. I've always called it the keypad. D-pad, keypad, whatever. You get the point. No, I'm not gonna use it. Not on the streams, at least. Again, I'd have to like actually practice it for a while before I do it with a full race. Especially with this game, it's just so easy to crash on your own. You just get the slightest out of control. It can be costly. I don't think I'd be able to make a big save if I got a little out of control compared to what you would see be able to do otherwise. Almost a 3.5 second lead, about 3.495 at the line. Second place through fifth has been within a couple seconds of each other this entire race, it seems like, up to this point. Even when Labonte just kind of went through there and took their positions away just before lap 40 earlier. It's been a nice, solid, clean race for Labonte and the rest of the field up to this point. Ooh, Kyle Petty almost blocked Labonte a little too much going into 1 and 2. Labonte trying to stay in front of him. Oh, Petty got in the wall off of turn 2. Oh, no chance to even think about crossing over Labonte now. I think once Labonte passed him in the center of the corner, Kyle Petty just got really tight in the air. Went off the front of the nose. Well, yeah, just because you use it and don't wreck doesn't mean I wouldn't. It's one of those things, like, if you started using that, like, from the time you first started playing, like, racing games, it probably would be 10 times easier for you to use that. But I've never, like, considered using it. I've always used the analog stick for, you know, racing games. So, like, instantly, like, your brain, the way your brain works, if you try to change, like, habits and stuff like that, even something as simple as, you know, playing racing games on console, it's going to be so hard to transition from one to the other, especially for me, because I've been playing these since I was a little kid. I'm 21 years old now, so, I mean, you're talking, like, probably 15 years or so I've been playing, you know, these games. So to go from an analog stick to a keypad, I'd probably crash out in the first 20 laps of a race. I do that with the analog stick as it is every now and then, just depending on how heavy the racing and the traffic is earlier in the race. So, you know, me being, you know, with a lack of practice and unstable with it at first, I'm sure I could get the hang of it after a while, but especially when you're doing these full races, you definitely need comfortability. You try to get into your comfort zone as quick as you possibly can and stick with it. Yeah, I'd say I'm generally pretty good too. Obviously, we didn't win the championship on season 1. But that's the first for us to go through all these different like playthroughs with the season. Granted, they've all been on NASCAR Heat 4 or 5. We won the championship every single time, except for our first season here on NASCAR Thunder 04 that we just wrapped up. Like 3-4 weeks ago. And we didn't win the championship. We were out of contention with a couple races to go still, so we weren't really that close either. By far the worst season I've ever had with a NASCAR video game on the channel. We race on the hardest difficulty every time too. We're on Legend. You guys have always, you guys generally speaking, like there's some people in the chat that are like, up the difficulty or whatever, like it's on the hardest difficulty, and we weren't going to win every championship ever. You know, in my mind, I think I'm going to do it, but, you know, those kinds of seasons happen where we just can't get luck on our side. And it looked like this season was going to be the same way, and it still could very well be. We haven't led in the points yet this year. And we never even led in the points last year either at any point in time. I think we were tied for the lead after the Daytona 500, but technically Harvick had the tiebreaker because he had one win versus our 0 at the time. So we never led in the points at all. But yeah, I always run on legend. Yeah, I dominate races every now and then, but I mean, that's just going to happen at some point. Kind of like what we saw at Martinsville yesterday. That was by far the best race. Well, it wasn't my cleanest race because we got into an accident like midway through it, and there was a couple moments where we could have, you know, crashed out with how much damage we had on the car, but that was just, you know, Martinsville being a short track, and with it being this game, it's a little bit harder to keep control of your car versus like NASCAR heat. NASCAR heat is night and day. 10 times easier for me to actually like keep control of my race car. Like, I very rarely make a mistake as far as like getting super loose like I would in this game. And when I do, I'm usually able to save it. This game, it's like hit or miss of whether or not I'm able to actually save it or not. It's so easy to overcorrect it. Like, we drift like that every now and then, but that's not really loose. I mean, it's loose, but it's not like wrecking loose. I had pretty good control of it there. It's just the tires are getting old now. You get pole all the time. Yeah, I very rarely qualify on the pole. Well, with this game, I qualify on the pole a little bit better. Like, I'm better at qualifying in this game with the setups. I think it's just a little harder in general to qualify in NASCAR heat. But you also, like, if you're doing that, though, and you're not running on a higher difficulty, it's not supposed to be easy necessarily. Like, you're supposed to be challenged. So if you can, like, if you have room to up the difficulty, you definitely need to do it until you find that sweet spot where it's hard for you. Not like, you have to find the spot where it's harder, but you can still, like, have a shot if you run consistently and just run a good line that you can actually compete. Because if you get to the point, like, let's say for NASCAR heat, you're running like the AI difficulty at a 95, let's say, and you're winning every single race by a lot, you know, whether it's custom setups or not, then you have to up the difficulty. Obviously, if you get all the way to the top and you're winning a bunch of races too, then, like with Ryan Blaney, we won 14 races out of the 34 we've raced on the season. Not as much as what we won on season 1 with Johnson. I think we won like 18 or 19 races with Johnson. So we definitely ran a little bit better season 1. See, that's the thing too. Like, we ran better as far as like winning races, but we've been 10 times more consistent with Ryan Blaney. I think we've only DNF'd like 4 or 5 times the whole year. And I think with Johnson, I DNF'd like 8 or 9 times the whole season. On hard difficulty, nice. Yeah, I've never played an F1 game, so I don't know exactly how the difficulties work on there. But it definitely livens it up, though, when you try to find, like, different difficulties. That's, you know, kind of the difference with playing video games with more experience as you get older versus, like, playing it when you first start playing video games, like when I was younger. Like, I'm curious to, like, go back to my 5 or 6 year old self and see how I was at these games. Because I guarantee I wasn't anywhere close to as good as what I am now. I might have thought I was good at the time, but I guarantee if I played myself now, I'd lose like 9 times out of 10. I might be able to squeak something out randomly. It's kind of like when I got my one of my friends into NASCAR, and he's been playing the NASCAR Heat game since I think Heat 2 was the first NASCAR game he played, and he's kind of been, you know, playing them and getting them every year since. And, like, those first, like, Heat 2 and Heat 3, I beat him all the time. Like, every now and then he'd squeak a win out on me if we were playing, like, 2-player or online or something. Every now and then he'd beat me. But it was usually, like, me just flat out, like, messing up, like, actually crashing out or something, or getting in an accident or getting caught up in somebody else's accident that he was beating me. But now it's getting a little bit more competitive. I've noticed, like, we haven't played much Heat 5 together, probably because of COVID and everything, but when we played Heat 4 together there, right before Heat 5 came out, we were playing kind of consistently. He was definitely getting a lot more competitive than what he was a couple years before that. But it took him a couple years to really start to get the hang of it. Enough to where he was beating me, but I had experience, though. You know, like him just getting into NASCAR, just finally starting to play games, you know, seriously. Like, he might have had it when he was a little kid and didn't, like, take it as serious, but, you know, me just playing since, you know, having 10, 15 years experience on him, you know, it's a completely different circumstance. Jackson Thomas, welcome back. We're going to be seeing green flag pit stops again here in about 10 to 15 laps. Be the second set of pit stops today. No cautions up to this point still. And Terry Labonte's got about a 7-second lead on Dale Jarrett. Followed by Bobby Labonte, Ryan Newman up to fourth, and Matt Kenseth rounds out the top five. So Johnson, we haven't seen Martin in the top five in a while. Those guys have faded back. Dale Jr. even has faded outside the top five. He was up as high as second earlier in the race as well. I didn't even know F1 had games for, like, Nintendo and stuff. Because I remember, like, when I had my PSP, there was only one NASCAR game. And it was basically NASCAR 07. Elliott Sadler on the cover. It was basically the same game. So I played that. That's why I played 07 a lot, was because I played it more on my PSP than anything else. But as far as, like, actual, like, console gaming, not handheld, I played more 05 than anything else. But it's been a while since I played. Like, it's probably been at least 5 years, if not more, since I played 05. I lost the game. That's part of it. Like, I think it was just like our PS2 broke down. It's probably been more than 5 years, because I haven't had a PlayStation 2 in a while. And I don't know if, like, the game was scratched and it wasn't good anymore, or I just lost it over time, but one way or another, I don't even have it. I haven't had it in a while. So when I wanted to go through these playthroughs of the older games, I figured it'd be kind of fun playing every single one, whether I've played it or not. It'd be pretty cool. You guys are having fun with it. And the viewership is there too, so you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. We're having fun like we are here today. Almost a lap 100. McMurray's trying to cross over Labonte to get back on the lead lap right now. If McMurray isn't already one lap down. And he couldn't quite clear Labonte. Terry gets a good run off of turn 4. A 9.4 second lead over Dale Jarrett now. Labonte is able to clear McMurray going off into 1 and 2, but now Labonte gets a little tight, maybe getting back into the gas a little too soon, and McMurray again underneath him. Labonte throwing a block to try and stay in front of him. He doesn't want McMurray to get back underneath him again. Both right sides a little worn, left front now starting to get a little worn. Ten-second lead. Biggest lead of the day by far for Terry Labonte. First run, he only got out to 5 seconds ahead of the leader, so he increased about another 5 seconds over the entirety of this run. Probably going to be the way it's going to go, I would have to imagine, as long as Labonte keeps his car clean going forward and we stay green going forward. Not quite halfway done yet. So again, we still got a little bit of a ways to go. It's likely a 3 pit stop race to the finish still from here. Good run, though, for Ryan Newman. Boy, he has struggled all year. I think he's only got like maybe one top 5 in the first 9 races. And him winning that Season 1 championship, I was expecting him to come out guns blazing here in Season 2. And remember, he didn't even win a race in Season 1. That was the incredible thing. Was that, yes, Ryan Newman won our Season 1 championship over Tony Stewart. He took the lead with 2 races to go in the standings, so kind of playing from behind. And he was just consistent all year. Didn't win a single race. Even Stewart won 2 races. But Newman never won a race, but he ends up winning the championship by about 50 points over Stewart. So ultimately, that's roughly, at the final race at Homestead, about 10 positions or so. Give or take because of the bonus points, but...
That car ain't running much longer. You need fuel.
100 laps complete this time by. Bonnie's getting pretty low on fuel, but he's going to stay out a couple more laps. You pitted at lap 53, so mathematically he could probably make it to about lap 106 on fuel, which is probably going to be when he hits pit road. Looks like we have 2 drivers out of the race with engine failures. Haven't actually seen who those 2 drivers have been with those engine failures so far, though. It's 12.7 second lead. But even on older tires, yes, the handling's not as good as what it is at the beginning of the run. At least he's still got pretty good grip for the most part. I mean, the tires haven't been in the red all day. So Labonte's looking at pitting at lap 106. If he has to pit at lap 105 because the fuel can't make it quite that far this run, then he will, but looking at pitting at lap 106. 13.6 second lead over Bobby Labonte. Ryan Newman up to 3rd now. Ken's at the 4th, and Dale Jarrett back to 5th. Our first driver's coming to pit road for our second fuel run of the race. And the second green flag stops of the race as well. Because again, we're still caution free. There's been a lot of open traffic. The AI has been racing pretty clean with Labonte. Especially this run. I don't think he's made contact with a single car this run even. Really clean race for Terry Labonte. Steve Park just coming off of pit road. Labonte gets around him. Still trying to get up to speed, so I highly doubt he's going to be able to actually get to Labonte. Well, he might. I mean, it's still a long way around this track, 2 miles. And he's still got about a lap or 2 before he hits pit road. He's got 1 gallon of fuel left. And I think he was wasting about 3 to 4 tenths of a gallon, at least on the first run. I'd have to imagine it's about the same this run. Seen a lot of cautions this year in the middle of green flag stops, too. That is something completely different from last season. We even saw that happen twice in yesterday's race, too. So part of why Labonte is staying out of the pits as long as he possibly can over this run, just in case we get that yellow. Yes, he wouldn't fall lap down because it's a longer track, but he would obviously lose the lead. Be stuck back in traffic.
30 cars passing Hines.
So Terry Labonte at lap 106 coming to pit road this time. Ran a little bit harder coming into pit road this time, but not that much harder. Still took it pretty easy. No adjustments, 4-tire stop. Very minimal damage anyway. Yeah, I mean, pretty much no damage, but if there is any, they'll repair it, and 4 fresh tires as usual. Gonna adjust my my laptop now. I can actually see the chat a little bit better. A little bit slower stop by about 2 seconds compared to the first stop they had today, but no mistakes. Nice clean stop for Labonte and his crew as he'll work his way back onto the racetrack off of pit road. He'll be on the racing surface when they get to the back straightaway, so he doesn't have a blend line violation, and there he goes. A lot of open traffic for him to come back up onto the racing surface. Chance for other drivers to maybe get some laps led if they haven't already. Score themselves 5 bonus points. Dale Jr., Jeff Green still on the racetrack. I think Jr. was actually on pit road. Yes, I did subscribe. Thank you, brothers. Oh, big wiggle in 3 and 4 there for Labonte. Tried to keep his foot in it. Barely gets into the wall off of 4. For staying in the gas, he did a great job saving as much as he could. Jeff Green going to get 5 bonus points for leading the lap. He'll be the last car to stay on the racetrack. I don't know why the spotter was telling me about a car exiting pit road when there was like nobody. I mean, there was a car exiting pit road, but he's a couple seconds ahead of us still. I don't know why he did that. Michael Turner, welcome to the stream. Didn't know that you have to lose weight now. But if you do, man, go for it, because you only get to live on this place once, so my goal is to try and, lengthen it out as much as I possibly can. I'm not necessarily like the best advocate for I do what I can. The one thing I definitely have to do more is I need to get back to the gym when I can. But with COVID going on and stuff, it's really tough to find some place that you can actually go in whenever you want. Because even a lot of these 24-hour places aren't even 24 hours anymore because of COVID. a lot of scheduled leave times and stuff. So we'll see how soon. Well, we'll see how soon I can get back in. I definitely will at some point, but I was really consistent there for the longest time, going as well. Like I took a little when I worked at Lowe's for 2 years. I was lifting there 5-6 times a week, and I was consistent with it. My senior year of high school, I was just starting to get into it too. So I was definitely noticing, a good change. And then when I switched jobs from Lowe's to the last place I worked at about a year and a half ago, a little less than a year and a half, but about a year and 3-4 months ago, I went like 3 months without lifting, and I got a gym membership up there. And then when COVID hit, they actually closed down. Like they didn't make it through it because the gyms were closed really long in Ohio. They were closed for about 3-4 months, and they obviously they made sure that nobody was getting any money because they were closed anyway. They weren't going to just keep taking $10, $20, $30 a month, whatever you were paying for it. So that happened, and they didn't make it out of it. So then I didn't have a gym anywhere close to where I worked. Working those longer hours, that's what I was, ideally going for. But then we started working more hours into overtime. I wouldn't have been able to lift those days anyway. I couldn't even golf those days anymore either, because, like, if I would have gotten out at, 6 o'clock, I maybe even could have played 9 holes, but I couldn't even do that on top of streaming and everything because we weren't getting out till like 7:30 a lot, so. Definitely a bummer, but I definitely have to get back into it again as soon as I can. Mike Skinner, Hermie Sadler. A little side-by-side action going on between those two. But he got a big run in the draft there of Hermie Sadler down the back straightaway. He pulled those guys so quickly. Jimmy Johnson back to second place again at his home track. Sadler was trying to stay 3 wide in there. Bonnie hooked up beautifully through 1 and 2. Lap 117. We're almost halfway home once we get to lap 125. And again, a 2 pit stop race to the finish from here. That's what we're looking at. Still caution free today as well. Not all, but a majority of the races this season gone on really long green flag runs at the start of the race. And then cautions tend to breed cautions in the second half of the race or later into the final quarter or so. See if that will be the case again here today or not. Ricky Rudd back into the top 5. I think he's been one of the drivers short pitting. That's why you see him at the beginning of a run back into the top 3 or 5. And he slowly starts to fade because he's pitting probably about 10 laps before everybody else. He's pitting like right at that 50 lap marker every time, where these other guys are going at least 5 to 6 laps longer. Some of them even longer than that at the front of the field, like we've seen out of Jeff Greendale Jr. Ryan Newman even did it the last run as well. Bonnie to the inside of his teammate, Joe Nemechek, trying to put him a lap down, if not maybe 2 laps down. Not sure exactly how far off the lead Nemechek is. Still a lot of guys on the lead lap, though. So again, all it takes is 1 caution. Everybody's right back into it. They're all over the back of Labonte again. Oh yeah, man, if you have workout equipment in the house, that's what I need. Our basement's too small, so we have to like put it, like we have a broken down weight bench basically in there. So, like, for a short time, like, when I was changing jobs, I was working out down there, but, like, I couldn't do anything standing up. Like, I'm too tall. Because I think the ceiling in there is, like, 6.5 feet, and I'm 6'4". Like, I'm almost, like, there. So, like, I would, even if we had, like, a squat rack, like, I wouldn't even be able to use it in the basement or something like that. Like, I can't do anything with my legs in the basement. We have cars in the garage. Or a car, and then the rest, we just don't have room for anything out there either. So. One of these days, maybe when I get my own place, I can start doing something like that too. So that way I don't have to worry about, wasting money on public gyms. Although, if you do start to work out, I really do think it starts to build more confidence in yourself to work out routinely. Working out at a public place, like, I didn't really, like, think about that until after the fact. Because it could be intimidating if you've, like, never really done it before and you go into a public place, especially if you go by yourself. Like, it definitely takes a couple weeks to, like, actually get into an actual routine and not caring what other people think. Is like, you're just constantly thinking, like, they're looking at you when really they're not. And you just gotta, like, not worry about them. Like, they're in there doing their own thing. 9 times out of 10, they don't even know you're there. Especially if they're listening to music. Which is definitely the way to go. Titans up 10-0. Nice. I figured the best chance that they're going to have of winning games is getting out to an early lead. Because the Titans, like, when they've been trying to play from behind this year, like, for instance, against the Packers a couple weeks ago, you put the ball in Tannehill's hands more, and Tannehill has proven to be a good quarterback. Even in Miami, he was decent. But the scheme that they have in Tennessee, and he's got a better running game, it works out a lot better for him down there. But if they can run the ball with Derrick Henry 20, 30 times, I mean, they're almost winning every game that he can rush the ball. Because he's had good games when they've lost. 100-plus yard games when they've lost. Like, against the Packers, I think he had like 100 yards rushing. But he could have had more if he had more carries. But because they were down, they had to rely on Tannehill to throw the ball, unfortunately, for them. But yeah, if they can get out to an early lead and just control the clock, wear out the opponent's team's defenses, especially for today's sake, keep the ball out of a talented quarterback's hands like Lamar Jackson, and then, if they have to play Kansas City, same thing with Mahomes. I mean, that's what they're going to have to do to win football games in the playoffs. That's what they were able to do last year. That's exactly what they did against the Patriots and the Ravens. That's why they made it to the conference championship. So they can definitely, get a run going again this year if they can just do that. Thanks for keeping back in. Yeah, I don't have the... Like, yesterday I was playing the games on my phone when I was streaming, but I only, like, glanced over, like, 2 or 3 times the whole race, so I kind of missed the end of the first game and didn't really pay attention to the Rams and Seahawks game until after I was done streaming anyway. But, like today, I don't even have that game on right now. Really trying to focus on this and trying to keep up with the chat as well. Just past the halfway mark here today, lap 128 in the Auto Club 500 at California Speedway. Terry Labonte trying to win 3 races in a row. Not a stellar start to the season, but he's had a stellar last handful of races. Again, it's only race 10. And if he just continues to finish solidly like he has these 3 of the last 4 races, at least with these wins, even if he's not winning races, finish consistently, he'll be right back in the thick of things again as far as the points go.
Still beside you.
We got some really tough racetracks at the very end of the season, too. Phoenix will be tough.
43 car is outside.
Rockingham was tough the first time. We DNF'd. Oh! Contact with Christian Fittipaldi.
It's got a run on you.
In turns 3 and 4, Labonte got hooked right on his left front. They both keep it off the wall. Barely. Luckily, not a lot of damage to Labonte's car or Fittipaldi's. But that had the makings to be a very bad head-on accident for Labonte. He just got a little tight on corner entry, just enough to where when Fittipaldi was on his outside, they made initial contact. And after that initial contact, Labonte just couldn't get off of him. Big run into turn 1 to get by Ashton Lewis. He and Kenny Wallace got back around Labonte, at least getting one of their laps back, but just to go that lap down again once Labonte catches back up to him.
Number 23 is still there. The 23 car is right behind you.
10.7 second lead now for Labonte over Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, top 10, definitely a good finish. And I think we could have had that at Texas if we didn't have those mistakes late in the race. Granted, some of it wasn't our fault, some of it was our rival's fault. But like speeding on pit road, we probably could have finished 11th or 12th instead of 14th. And every point matters too, especially in a season-long championship standings or season-long. You get the point. Point standings. Instead of like having cutoffs in the playoffs and stuff or a chase.
Small pass. They're on both sides.
Ryan Newman back into the top 5. Newman's showing some good long run speed today too, I've noticed. Definitely helped him. He qualified a lot better today than what he has in majority of the season up to this point. I think he qualified in the top 10 if I remember right. I think he started 8th here today.
Gas tank is at half.
So well, just about halfway out of fuel for this run. And again, it's a 2 pit stop race to the finish from here. That's one thing too, with the contact that Fittipaldi and Labonte had, it's a good thing this track is as wide as it is. Because that gave both those drivers plenty of room to keep it off the wall. Labonte's only hit the wall twice today. Once off of turn 4 very lightly, and once off of turn 2 very lightly.
Number 11 is at half. The 11 car wants to get by you. You're clear. Small pass. They're on both sides.
Bonnie might have gotten back into the gas just a little too soon there. He's having to lift just a little bit on corner exit to keep it off the wall because he really started pushing tight. Much cleaner race car than what he had at Martinsville yesterday. That's 100% guarantee. Right as I say that, Chase Montgomery tried to pull up and block Labonte off of 4, and he wasn't clear. Labonte still gets around him and clears him on the outside before they get into turn 1, though. Again, short track racing tomorrow night at Richmond on NASCAR Thunder 04. Should be a lot of fun. $6 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for that one. Jeff Green's finally about to go his first lap down in today's race as well. Terry Labonte got a big run in the draft. Slides it, drives it in hard into 1 and 2, and he'll clear Green quickly and cleanly. Jeff Green left a lot of bottom open. Next pit stop is probably going to be at lap 159 for Terry Labonte. Michael Waltrip's about to go a lap down. 14-second lead over Bobby Labonte. Maybe the Labonte brothers can finish 1-2 for the first time this year. There's been 2 or 3 races already this season that looked like that could have been possible. Darlington was probably the biggest example of it. They were passing each other and battling back and forth for the lead with just over 30 laps to go. But obviously that didn't end the way that both drivers wanted to see it. Labonte not only didn't even get a top 10, finished 11th. Bobby, that is. Terry Labonte DNF'd out of that race. Yeah, this could be a caution-free race. Remember, Michigan was one of the 2 caution-free races last season in Season 1 on this game. It was the second Michigan race, but it still went caution-free, and that's a 2-mile racetrack just like this place here, California Speedway. Now, also back in 2003, there's only 1 race here at this said racetrack, so this is the only time we're going to be going here this season. might go 1-for-1 with this Looney Tunes paint scheme. Like, even when we had good luck with the Cheez-It paint scheme, you know, I had Cheez-It as the primary sponsor. I had my Greg Biffle Cheez-It hat on, as well as an actual packet of Cheez-Its that we were eating throughout the course of the race. We finished 14th at Texas, our first race with them. But I didn't open the bag of Cheez-Its that race. They were just kind of sitting there. We only had, 3 cautions the whole race or something like that? Yeah, I think we only had 3 cautions the whole race, but I didn't really have much time to actually eat the Cheez-Its. So I made sure during Talladega I was going to open them and see if that was going to work for good luck, and we won, and we led the most laps. And then we won and led the most laps yesterday at Martinsville. We opened the bag of Cheez-Its there. It was getting close. I didn't open it, and then we had that caution with less than 40 to go, and I'm like, oh, here we go. So when I pitted under caution, I made sure I opened the bag of Cheez-Its and really started eating them before the end of the race. And it worked out. I don't want to run Cheez-It every race this year, even though it's been good luck. You don't want to take the chance of ruining that good luck that we have with them, so I didn't want to use it today. And after starting at the rear, Labonte's just had a bad fast race car today. Last caution of yesterday's race came out with 4 laps to go, but it ended the race under caution. This is the first time we had a race end under caution this season. I think all of season 1, we only had maybe one race, no, I know Talladega ended under caution. One of the Talladega races did. I think it was the first one. Ended under yellow. And we might have had another race end under caution too, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Yep, you can run custom schedule for the EA games. I got a pretty exciting custom schedule coming up on NASCAR 05 when the time comes as well. But I'll probably have to run the custom schedules the second season in order to do it, because I want to put in a lot of fantasy tracks. Like, we're literally going to have like a season. We'll have like some regular race tracks on the schedule because there's not that many fantasy tracks, but there's probably like a dozen of them. I want to make sure I try to get to all of them. Some made-up road courses, a lot of like Roval's at other racetracks. That'll be kind of cool. Jeff Burton now just in front of Terry Labonte. Labonte in the wall. Off of turn 2. Oh, Jeff Burton got in the wall too. So both Jeff Burton and Terry Labonte brushed the wall off of turn 2. That was as hard as Labonte's hit the wall all day today. He was trying to catch the car and he just couldn't do it. We're only about 10 laps away from pit stops, though.
Haven't got much longer on that left front tire.
We'll have 100 laps to go this time by here in California. For some reason, Terry Labonte's gotten really tight later into this run compared to the first 2 runs. Well, you saw him get up into the wall there. That's only the 3rd time he's hit the wall all day long. We're 151 laps complete into this 250 lap race. Black Ace, welcome to the stream. Yeah, the next throwback game playthrough is going to be 05. So that's not going to happen until we get through this Thunder 04 season, as well as our NASCAR Heat 5 playthrough, which we're getting pretty close to ending. I really want to finish up the Heat 5 playthrough before the start of the NASCAR season. And I think we're on pace to actually being able to finish this season up right before the start of the year. Like, if I do one stream every day and I can't miss a stream for whatever reason, then I can actually finish this season up. Our championship race at Homestead will be the day before the 500. So then on NASCAR 05, we can actually do the Daytona 500 on the same day of the actual 500, which would be pretty cool. So it's probably about when we'll start that playthrough. Yeah, we did run the Daytona Road Course here on Thunder 04. It's a obviously different configuration compared to the actual one. It's a little bit of a fantasy track, but I labeled it as the Daytona Road Course. We were able to run there. See, we started the season off with a custom schedule, so that was the only fantasy track I had unlocked before I actually started this playthrough. So otherwise, I would have added more onto our custom schedule season here. So that's why I'm thinking about doing the custom schedule season as Season 2 instead of Season 1 on NASCAR 05, just so I can unlock most of them, if not all of them. Less than 100 to go, and Labonte's only about 4 or 5 laps away from pit stops. 17-second lead over Bobby Labonte. Ryan Newman up to third. Bobby's had a strong start to the year, too. He's been in the top 5 in points for quite some time. First driver on pit road here for his green flag stop. These are going to be the third pit stops of the day today. Still caution free with less. Levi Strauss. I think it's Levi Strauss. If you're talking about like that fantasy track and the EA NASCAR games. I don't think I'm going to add the oval fantasy tracks on the Cup schedule because we'll have those ones in like the Busch and the Truck series when we run on there. But I'll run the road course fantasy tracks on the Cup schedule at least. And then I'll save like the oval fantasy tracks like Red Bull and Dodge Raceway and Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Other tracks like that I'll save for the Busch and Truck series. So Terry Labonte just clinched the most laps led, giving him 10 bonus points for today's race. 6th time this season of the first 10 races he has clinched the most laps led in a race. All 3 of his wins came in races that he led the most laps as well this season. So we'll see if he can do it again here today. Definitely had more of a variety of leaders than what we had at Martinsville yesterday. We only had 2 drivers lead laps yesterday. Sterling Marlin led 1 lap. And Terry Labonte led 499 of the 500 in that race. So we're at lap 159 right now. This is the scheduled lap for Labonte's next pit stop. Good chance he's going to hit pit road this time by. So Labonte will pit this time by his third stop of the day, all under green. Gonna lock the brakes up a little bit. He's starting to come onto pit road a little bit faster, a little bit harder each time before he actually gets into the braking zone. Still fairly no damage, but whatever there is, Labonte and his crew will repair it, and hopefully they can go 3 for 3 as far as clean pit stops in today's race.
As the driver hits his mark, the crew will go around. They'll go to the right side first, change right side tires. 1 can of braking fuel going in. The crew will now swing over to the left side.
Clean stop on the right sides, now to the left sides.
Tires and 2 cans of 76 braking fuel.
No mistakes there for Terry Labonte and his crew. 3 for 3 on those pit stops today. 91 laps to go as he works his way back out onto the racetrack. And it is now just a 1 pit stop race to the finish for him and everybody else that has already pit. Not everybody has hit pit road yet. You see Labonte in 7th right now. Now back to 8th. Rusty Wallace has to pit also. Labonte getting back up to speed. He'll get right back around Rusty Wallace for position. And again, this is a chance for other drivers to try and lead laps in today's race and try to get themselves 5 bonus points if they haven't already led a lap or more. Loose getting into 3 that time for Labonte. Seems like the race leaders are taking it even further this run than what they have at any other point today. Not only trying to lead laps, but maybe in hope of a caution as well to get that fresh tire advantage with a restart on Terry Labonte, perhaps. Race leader coming to pit road this time. See if second place comes down there with him. I believe so. Yep. That'll be a lead change the next time by. Tony Stewart was able to lead that last lap. I think that might be his first lap led of the day. So Stewart going to get himself 5 bonus points.
Number 97, down left. Swing on both sides.
.20-second lead for Terry Labonte over his brother Bobby. And then Bobby Labonte is about a second to a second and a half ahead of third place Matt Kenseth. Again, it's been pretty close from second on back the rest of the race. Outside of Terry Labonte leading a lot of laps since he first took the lead back at lap 39. It's been a pretty smooth sailing race for him. And again, it's because we haven't had a caution. But one caution changes everything, because there are still quite a few drivers on the lead lap. We'll bunch everybody back together and we have a new race again. We just haven't seen a caution at all today. Caution free, we only have 85 to go. Gonna alternate to the different camera angles one final time now in today's race. For about the next dozen laps or so. Like Elliott Sadler's car was bottoming out up ahead. Sparks were flying. He had a car that was inside, but they never made contact with one another. Oh! Elliott Sadler checked up right in front. Terry Labonte, I think it was because Christian Fittipaldi pulled up in front of him. Bonnie able to get around Sadler, and now Fittipaldi going off into 1 and 2. How many days am I available to race early in the afternoon? Sundays, every Sunday. But when NASCAR season starts back up again, it's going to depend on the start time of the race, which usually, I know for next year, they only have one race that starts like before 2:30. Or that starts at 1 o'clock, and that's the Indianapolis Road Course, but I'm going to be there that day. It's going to depend on whether I'm at the track or not, too. But as far as like the off-season goes, Sundays and Saturdays, depending on what time I can get off of work. But typically, especially when I start at the Home Depot distribution next week, or not next week, but the week after, I'm not going to be able to stream until like 5:30 at the earliest on Saturdays going forward. So really, it's only going to be Sundays starting not next week, but the week after. Wide off into 1 and 2. Bonnie hooks the bottom to get around Stanton Barrett and Ashton Lewis. Lewis and Barrett are still side by side too. Bonnie went around them like they weren't even there. It's Kevin Harvick trying to stay on the lead lap right in front of Terry Labonte. Labonte getting a big run in his draft down the front stretch. Labonte's going to get around him pretty quickly. Now he gets to the inside. Well, not the inside, but he gets in line behind Mark Martin, trying to draft off of him as well now, too. Bonnie to the outside of Martin. Into turns 3 and 4. Martin hangs on to the lead lap for now. Bonnie going to get a run, though, down the front stretch again in the draft of Mark Martin. Looks low. Martin trying to pinch him down and block him. And Labonte clears Martin and Hermie Sadler. Looking low. He just can't quite get the speed down the back straightaway that Terry Labonte gets. Though Martin's trying hard. And he's not going away. He might get to the inside off of turn 4. Labonte again seems a little bit better in turns 1 and 2 than what he does 3 and 4 today. And Mark Martin is on his inside. Going off into 1 and 2. Martin passes him right back. Mark Martin not letting him go without a battle. He is blocking like crazy right now, going off into turns 3 and 4. Martin's doing this in case a caution comes out. Labonte to his outside, getting a big run in the draft of Ken Schrader, but now Martin going to use Schrader as a pick to again get around. Oh, Schrader cuts down in front of Labonte in the center of the corner. What was he thinking? Labonte was already to his inside. Talk about taking another driver's nose off his race car. My goodness. Ken Schrader pulled down in front of Labonte right in the center of the corner. He was obviously not clear. I think he was trying to duck in line in between the 6 and the 5 car. And Labonte was drifting heavily off of turn 2. Did a great job saving it. It almost didn't even really faze Ken Schrader at all. Well, the AI is starting to race more aggressively as they tend to do with less than 100 to go in these races on NASCAR Thunder 2004. And now Labonte lately scrapes the wall getting off into turn 1. That's only the 4th time he's hit the wall all day long. 3 times off, or I should say 3 times in 1 and 2, and only once in turns 3 and 4. No, Fink Brothers. I already told you, I'm not going to be using the D-pad at all. I've never done that. Joe Nemechek's trying to hang in there with Terry Labonte as well. He's on the inside. Labonte gives him plenty of room, and Terry's going to try to cross him back over again. I don't think Labonte's really got any damage, but these AI cars are racing really hard late in today's race. Labonte again clears Nadu. Labonte again kind of leaves the bottom open. Jerry Nadu is there. Not anymore. Labonte clears him easily going off into 3. Nadu tried to take a peek, but Labonte's just got a little bit more straightaway speed in his car versus what Nadu has in that 0-1 Army car. $70 laps to go. We'll stick with the far chase cam for the rest of today's race. Murray almost brushed the wall off of turn 2. He's about to go 2 laps down. Mark Martin still in the lead lap. Remember, he battled Terry Labonte off for a while there, and he's still in front of him. He's trying to keep it that way until the next set of pit stops. Nadu driving a Pontiac for 2003? I think so. I think MB2 had Pontiacs. No, wait a minute. I don't know. I can't remember. It might be a Dodge. But I think you're right. I think it is a Pontiac. Never really, off the top of my head, wondered those MB2 teams were Pontiacs or not. That would make sense. They probably are Pontiac because they race Chevrolet. I know when Martin was there for a fact, so Pontiac is under the Chevy name, kind of like Mustang is like its own brand, but it's still under Ford. Similar concept with when Pontiac was around. Bonnie got to get around Jamie McMurray. Martin just got around Kenny Wallace as well, so Labonte's still trying to run him down to put him a lap down. We know Martin's got a fast car because he led a lot of laps early. Oh, Kenny Wallace trying to block. Then he got hung up on the right front of Terry Labonte's car. AI, these lap cars are just not cutting any slack for Terry Labonte late in today's race. Pit window to make it to the end on fuel will open in about 15 laps. I'm sure you're going to see some guys come onto pit road as soon as that window opens, but Labonte's going to stay out. And he doesn't have to pit until lap 212. So Labonte will pit at lap 212. Just now halfway out of fuel. Tony Stewart back into the top 5. 22-second lead for Terry Labonte. Yep. Those are the 4 manufacturers in 2003. Bonnie in line now behind Jack Sprague, and Sprague's holding him up. Bonnie to the outside of Sprague off of turn 2. Mark Martin breaking the draft down the back straightaway. Terry Labonte's closing that gap on him, though, into 3 and 4. Labonte really drove it in hard. And now Labonte's going to get a draft off of Mark Martin down the front stretch. We'll see if he can get around him going into turn 1. Martin trying to block. Labonte just to the inside into turn 1. Labonte got loose! Oh, man, he almost tagged the left rear of Mark Martin going into turn 1. Martin kind of pinched him off there at the end of the front stretch. Awkward angle into turn 1 for Terry Labonte. Now he's got to be careful going into 3 because Jack Sprague's all the way underneath him. Oh, Sprague! Just got right into the side of Labonte. Oh, yeah, so if you watch Premier League, I don't really know that many teams, honestly. Isn't Manchester United in England? I'm going to go with Manchester United, if I had to guess. I don't really pay close enough attention to soccer, so I don't know if they're actually in England or not, but that's going to be my guess. I only really know a couple Premier League teams. All through all that, again, Mark Martin's still on the lead lap. He's trying to keep himself in contention. Liverpool. I've heard of them. Ricky Rudd in danger of going a lap down. Martin was able to pass him for position at least. Minus 56, so he's not angry enough to try to wipe out Terry Labonte. He'll probably try to block desperately. We saw Martin blocking desperately, and he isn't a rival at all with Labonte. Terry Labonte just blew right around Ricky Rudd on the outside down the front stretch. Rudd was kind of holding the bottom. Labonte's like, all right, I'll pass you up high, and he cleared him before they even got into turn one. So Ricky Rudd's now a lap down. Martin's got pretty heavy lap traffic right in front of him. 10-10 at the half. Nice. Kyle Petty was already at least 2 laps down, if not more. Trying to block Terry Labonte too. No contact. There is no love lost here with these lap cars. Bonnie hooked 3 and 4 beautifully to try and get around Steve Park. And he'll clear him off in turn 4. First driver coming to pit road to try and make it to the end of the race with 55 laps to go at California. Nemechek going to go another lap down. I believe he is 2 laps down now today. .2 seconds between the Labonte brothers running 1-2. Terry out in front of Bobby. Here's Dale Jarrett just coming off of pit road. He was in the top 5 here and there today. He was still in the lead lap as well. So he's short pits. You better hope a caution doesn't come out. Wonder when Mark Martin might try to pit. I think if Terry Labonte gets around him and Mark Martin can't cross him back over, he's already crossed him over twice. So if he can't cross him over the next time, that's probably when Martin's going to come to pit road. Labonte to the outside, into 1 and 2. Drove it really deep into the corner. Labonte still pushing tight, and he's in the wall. And he couldn't get off of it, and he tried to stay high to make sure Dale Jarrett wasn't going to run into him. So again, Martin hangs on to the lead lap. Labonte tried to pass him on the outside, and that didn't work at all. Got into the wall. It'll be lap 200 this next time by. That's another thing, too, though. I mean, Labonte, over the course of this race, the car just seems to be getting a little bit tighter, Hasn't made any adjustments on it all day long, which is surprising after no practice or qualifying. I was expecting us to have to change the handling of the car all day long to try and keep up with it and keep up with these guys, but we had a lot smoother of a race than what I was intending there to be. Pretty much from lap 1, we were pretty consistent. This has probably been the run where we've struggled the most, but even then, still got a pretty good lead. Just managing the length of time that we have been out in front. I did not listen to that yet. You asked me that earlier in the stream. You must have missed, but no, I didn't listen to it yet. I don't think I listened to any music yesterday. Like even when I got off of work early, I don't think I listened to music at all yesterday. $50 laps to go here at California. 200 laps complete, 50 to go. Just think this race would be over if this was a 400 miler like you're used to seeing today here in Fontana, California, but that is not the case. We still have another 50 laps left. We're still streaming. And Labonte would have been declared the winner right there, but we'll see. Labonte has not won a 500 mile. Well, sorry, no, that's a. For the Aaron's 499. Guess the first speedway racetrack he's won it this year. He's only won at Talladega and then the 2 short tracks that we ran at Bristol and Martinsville. Other tracks that kind of race like a short track that we ran at also this year, but he did not win, were Darlington and North Carolina Speedway, which are both a little more than a mile in length. Considered intermediates. But the way that they actually race, the higher braking corners, the angling of the corners, kind of races like a short track. Yeah, the pit window is open to the end of the race, but Labonte's going to stay out as long as he can here. Again, pit stop is going to be scheduled for lap 212 for Terry Labonte. That will be his final pit stop of the day. Some drivers have already made their final stops as soon as that window opened about 5 to 10 laps ago. Almost a 25-second lead back now. Dale Jarrett was one of those cars, and he was just outside the top 5 at the time of him coming to pit road. There's a good chance that's going to cycle him, perhaps maybe even up to second, depending on how far back he was off the race leader. And again, Martin's probably trying to stay out until Labonte gets around him and stays around him. And he's tried to pass him 3 times. Twice he actually did get around him. Martin passed him back. There was actually another time where he got really loose, trying to pass him on the inside. Now Labonte's got to run. Martin couldn't block it. And Labonte will clear Mark Martin before they get into turn 1 this time. We'll see if Mark can cross him over. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. So Martin's now a lap down. Now we'll see if he comes to pit road this time by. I wouldn't be surprised. Joe Nemechek's closing in on these guys, but I think he's got fresher tires and has already hit pit road. He's already 2 laps down before. He's just going to blow right around Mark Martin as he closes in on his teammate. Nemechek's the only Hendrick Chevrolet that hasn't won yet this season. But it's only the 10th race of the year. And he's had good runs. His best finish this season was 2nd in the Daytona 500. A little wide off of turn 2, but mainly because Labonte was given plenty of room on the bottom to let his teammate go on by with those fresh tires, and Labonte is just going to follow behind him. Going to draft him down the front straightaway here. just see how much more grip physically that Nemechek has versus Terry Labonte. Labonte's just trying to draft him down the straightaways. Pull that speed even more. Dale Jr.'s in danger of going a lap down here. Pit with Martin. Yeah, Martin's still back there. He isn't pit yet. I think Mark Martin's been staying out a little bit longer than Terry Labonte consistently as well. I was just kind of expecting maybe he'd come to pit road once he fell a lap down. That's what I would have done, but Martin's still on the track. I can still see him out of the rear view back there. Very faintly. You guys might not be able to see him, but still back there. Nemechek on the fresher tires, trying to get around Dale Jr. on the outside. Wow, Labonte just kept it off the wall before, and Jr. is trying to block Joe Nemechek right now. Despite Nemechek being on fresher tires, and that's going to allow Labonte to get back around Nemechek and Dale Jr. going into turn 1. So Dale Jr. is now a lap down. So Nemechek back to the inside. Those fresher tires. Labonte just brakes a little bit sooner, tries to get in line behind Nemechek and make sure that Jr. wasn't going to try to get to his inside going off into 3, and he didn't. Maybe saving a little bit of fuel down the straightaways as well by drafting, but at the same time, too, not that he has to save fuel. It's a one-stop race easily to the end. Labonte has made it 53 laps on the first 3 fuel runs of the race, so that would mean he would pit in 2 laps at lap 212. Assuming he does that again, which is probably going to be the case. His crew's been perfect on pit road today, too. Whoa! Bonnie in the wall off of turn 4 again. Another minor hit to the wall. No major damage on the race car. And that's now the 5th time today he's hit the wall. It's got really tight. Yeah, when I was growing up, I only played baseball for 1 year, Little League. And then, but I played football in youth until 6th grade. Then I played basketball in 5th and 6th grade. And then I didn't play again until my freshman year. And then I played basketball in high school for my freshman year until my junior year. I didn't play senior year. And then I played golf my senior year. So Terry Labonte coming into the pits this time. He's going to make sure he doesn't speed. He's been perfect getting to pit road all day, and he was again right there. Final pit stop of the race today for Terry Labonte. It's the money stop. Credit to Terry Labonte's crew today, too. They have not made a mistake all day. And he's got a pretty big lead, so even if they made one right here, it might cost them a few seconds. But they're about a 28-second lead over Bobby Labonte coming to pit road that last time right there. So just less than 40 laps to go. Final pit stop of the day for Terry Labonte. A couple drivers still on the racetrack trying to take it maybe a little further and hope for a caution. Still caution-free here today. Yeah, our school never even had a soccer team. Like, if you went to my school and wanted to play soccer, you'd probably have to play on, like, a travel team or something like that. which obviously they have. But you wouldn't have been able to play locally. It's kind of the same with hockey, because there's like schools, there's bigger schools around, you know, Ohio and especially Michigan that they have a bunch of hockey teams, but you'd have to like play travel. Like I know there was this one kid that played hockey, but he had to play travel, and it was in my grade. I guess he was pretty good at it too. But that was like his only way to play it because we didn't offer it through our school. The only schools that offered it, I think, were like Toledo area where we live. Otherwise, you'd have to go like towards Cleveland a little bit closer, like inner city. A lot of like the inner city schools had hockey teams, but that was about it. I don't think Junior's pit yet. No, he is not. That's actually for position. That will get Terry Labonte up to second now. So clear Junior before he even gets into turn 3. Jeff Burton closing up on Terry Labonte right now as well. Tony Stewart's shown as the race leader. Stewart and Junior still have to pit. I believe Rusty Wallace in 4th has to pit too. These guys have been staying out a little bit longer than everybody else today. And they're doing it again, staying with that strategy on this final pit stop of the race. Tony Stewart coming to pit road this time. That will hand the lead over to Terry Labonte off of turn 4. Lead change at the line at lap 2:17. Labonte back in the lead. For what is now the 5th and the final time, as long as we don't get a caution. Out of Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Nice. Third year in soccer, nice. Obviously, you said that you're a soccer fan. You seem like a pretty big soccer fan, so it's good that you're, you know, committing to something like that. That's always cool. Yeah, Nazareth Speedway. Been abandoned for about a decade and a half or so. Tony Stewart's going to go a lap down, but he's got a little bit fresher tires than Terry Labonte, only by a couple laps. That Labonte's car maybe not as fast on the short run as well, so we'll see if Stewart might be able to run him down when he gets up to speed and maybe get back on the lead lap. You know he's going to fight him hard to try and get back on the lead lap. Dale Jr. still was not on pit road until just now. He is coming into the pits from second place. He's the last driver to have to hit pit road. After that, we will have cycled through all 4 green flag stops today. Labonte gets around Kurt Busch now as well. Stewart is closing that gap. Busch almost got the wall off of 4. Almost, not quite. Wow, Labonte really jumped up the track into 1 and 2. Ashton Lewis and Stanton Barrett were side by side in front of him, and he couldn't quite make a move. Master at soccer. It's good to start off young like that, too. You said you were 10 years old, and you've been playing for 3 years. So, what, you've been playing since you were 7 or 8. Or this will be your 3rd year, I guess. So, yeah, 7 or 8 years old, that's pretty good, too. I wish I would have started playing golf when I was younger. Just never had the opportunity to. I'm good at it now, but I didn't start playing until I was like 15. 15, 16. Yeah, no, I was 16, yeah, because it was like 16 going on 17 when I started playing golf. Because when I went out for the team my senior year, that was only the 2nd year I'd ever played. I graduated 3 years ago. Stewart trying to take a move high. Now he looks low. Labonte trying to block him. Trying to hold him a lap down. 29 laps to go here at California. And what has been a caution-free race and might finish out that way. Yeah, definitely planning on racing at Nazareth on NASCAR 05. It's not in this game. Otherwise, I might have thrown it on the custom schedule there. Wow, Labonte really loose off of 4. Didn't have a lot of room to save it. Barely kept it off the wall as he puts Harvick a lap down again. And Tony Stewart's able to get right back on the lead lap. Oh, Harvick washed up into Labonte now in the center of the corner. Minimal contact. Boy, the caution came out right after Stewart just got on the lead lap and gets him back into it. He can be tough to beat. He's led laps today. Granted, it was on pit strategy, but he's been in the top 5 by the end of a fuel run today as well. Lonnie trying to stay in the draft of smoke down these launch straightaways. We've seen the draft come into effect quite a bit here today. See, I raced a lot when I was younger too, so that like took up a lot of my, like what would I have done, you know, like sports playing wise, especially like in the summer. Like with racing on Fridays and Saturdays, growing up, quarter midgets and go-karts and stuff, it was obviously baseball season was like, you know, March, April through end of the school year, right around June, maybe into early July. So, like, even if I did want to play baseball, like, I wouldn't have been able to race because I wouldn't have been able to play on Fridays and Saturdays, but racing's always been a huge passion of mine, and I definitely love that way more than what I like playing baseball. See, it was one of those things, like, I appreciate the sport of baseball, and I do like watching it. And it was kind of like that with most sports, you know, growing up, where I was a fan of watching it, but I was playing it, I just didn't have as much enjoyment in it. I did, like, I loved playing, like, pickup basketball games and stuff, but, like, when it came to, like, practice and then actually playing in the game, it's just so much different. Obviously, it's more technical, and I didn't feel like I was really playing the right position that I should have been playing anyway, too, on the floor, and because I was always so tall, so I always got stuck playing in the post. Like, even when I was younger, I've always been, like, one of the taller kids in my class. And, like, yeah, I'm 6'4", and, like, I'm, like, the only one that could guard these taller guys on the other team, so I understand on defense doing that, but even on offense, I was still in the post. And I was such a good three-point shooter and such a good shooter in general that I was always in the post. My coach would yell at me when I was shooting. Like, I'd always shoot in practice, and, like, even if I'd make it, like, sometimes, like, I'd pull up from, like, 3, and I'd make it, and be like, what are you doing shooting the ball? It's like, you're never going to take that in a game because we don't want you taking it in a game, essentially, so I was like, yeah, okay. And then going into my junior year, I started, we did this, like, summer camp, like, every year, so I did that my junior year, where you do these, like, tournaments. It was, like, a week long. It was, like, 3.5 hours, like, in eastern Ohio. But it was, like, I think it was near Youngstown. But anyway, we did that, and I went to that still. I was going to our, like, open gyms, and I started practice, but I didn't end up playing the first game. I quit before that, and I should have quit before we even started practice, but I didn't. was more like I didn't have the guts to really say anything to anybody about it. And I was like, no, I really don't want to do this anymore. Because I knew, in open gym, it was kind of like a freelance, so I always seemed to play better there than what I did in practice. We had like set formations and stuff. Because I was able to like actually like shoot and do what I wanted. And the coaches were there watching majority of the time too. So like I don't understand like why they didn't ever see like me as a shooter. I don't know. Like that's all I did in the summertime too. I've had a basketball hoop pretty much since I was about a freshman, like 8th grade or something like that. And like from spring through fall, I'd be outside like every other day shooting for like an hour to 2 hours. Just shooting basketball. That's how I became good at it. But yeah, I just never got looked at as being a shooter. And again, it was probably because I was tall and they didn't want me there. They wanted me in the post because I was one of the tallest kids, if not I was the tallest kid on the team. So yeah, it was like, oh, well, we want you down here because you're the tallest. And we had other like taller, guys, not necessarily like my height because I'm 6'4", but I mean, we had some like our best player on the team was like 6'2", 6'3", but because he was the best player, like I didn't struggle with ball handling necessarily, but I would have been like a good like spot shooter. Like they wanted me to start at center. I would get the minutes, but it wasn't about the minutes for me. It was about like actually playing well and having fun playing. And I just wasn't having fun playing where I was playing on the court. So yeah, that's why I didn't play all the way through my junior year and didn't play my senior year. And I broke my ankle the year before too, down in the post, trying to come down for a rebound. And I landed on somebody else's foot, which that's a freak accident. I get that. That could have happened from any position, but again, I'm down there with these bigger guys, and I was tall, but I was always kind of lanky too. Always been on the skinnier side, so like I go against these other guys that are they're probably my same height, but some of them were like linemen in football or something, and they're 50, 60 pounds heavier than me. I was getting pushed around a lot down there. Like I wasn't physical enough to play down there either, so it wasn't a good matchup. That's why I didn't enjoy it as much as I did when I was younger. Once I was getting older, I was like, yes. I think it's time to hang it up. I haven't played any pickup games in about a year and a half to 2 years, but there was every now and then I'd go to the rec center with friends or something like that, and we'd hop in games and stuff, and I still would have fun doing that. I haven't shot a ball in about a year and a half, so I'd probably have to get some like warm-ups, but I guarantee you give me 10, 15 minutes to warm up, and I'd be ready to go again. Good defender, good striker, good goalkeeper. Nice. I always thought goalie would be kind of a fun position to play. Wouldn't have to run as much. It's still hard work, though, as is with any other position in any sport. Well, it would be on NASCAR 05 with the Nazareth race. It'd be on the custom schedule season for sure. Like, if I were going to add any oval tracks onto the actual, like, cup schedule as far as the fantasy tracks go, it'd probably be Nazareth and Milwaukee. But those are probably going to be the only two. But then in the Busch Series and Truck Series, I'd probably throw more of the ovals than road courses as far as fantasy tracks. I don't even think you can race, like, all the fantasy road courses on the lower series anyway, so that's another reason. If I remember correctly. I think that's the way it was in that game. It's been a while since I played it, but I played a lot that I know a decent amount of information that goes with the game. 14 laps to go this time by for Terry Labonte at the California Speedway. It's been a pretty dominant race for the most part. He's led well over 100 laps in this race. He's probably going to lead upwards of near 200 laps, if not maybe a little more than 200 by the time this race comes to an end. As long as we don't get a caution to bunch the field up. And we are still caution-free today as well. So we've got that going for us, and we're, again, only 14 laps away from the finish. What would be the first and only caution-free race to this point of the year. First race that you've actually watched the full race, as far as my channel, I'm guessing you're talking about. But yeah, we had some minor, contact here and there, but it's been a pretty clean and calm race for the most part. About as clean of a race as Labonte's had this year, to be completely honest. And another factor in that is we haven't had a caution, so even the AI has been racing clean. They're racing aggressively, though, up ahead. Lap cars battling for every spot they can late in the going, 3 wide. I think Dale Jarrett's in the mix up here. I think that's Dale Jarrett. Oh boy. 3 wide off into turn 1. Bonnie kind of slides into the corner, trying to catch the car. Contact with Hermie Sadler. He was 3 wide and wasn't a lot of room going into turn 1, and then Labonte got loose on top of it. Tony Stewart starting to close back in again. Might get his lap back. Bonnie's going to try not to let that happen. So Dale Jarrett's in 5th, and he almost went a lap down there. 2nd through 4th, all within about 3 seconds of each other still. And it's a really close battle for 3rd right now. Well, when you get older, you'll have protective gear, so you won't have to worry about that.
Only 10 laps left.
Conrads. Yeah, especially when they start like kicking faster in like professional leagues. Oh, for sure, I wouldn't want to be a goalie there. Ball's coming in a lot faster than what you would see like even in high school. Dale Jarrett trying to stay in the lead lap. Stewart still trying to close in on Jarrett for 5th. Got 9 laps to do, 9 laps to go here at California. 4 cars on the lead lap. Tony Stewart just got around Dale Jarrett for 5th. Stewart trying to get to the inside of Labonte now to get back on the lead lap. Stewart's still there. And Tony Stewart back on the lead lap again. So back to 5 cars on the lead lap. Labonte's going to try to get back around him. Stewart's blocking pretty heavily too. 8 to go. Labonte got to the inside of Stewart. Stewart really crowded him. Stewart's bottoming out in the center of the corner. He's probably got a little bit lower air pressure. We saw that out of Elliott Sadler a little earlier in the race, too. Bobby Labonte, 24 seconds off the lead. Ryan Newman still sitting in 3rd. Stewart left the bottom open going into 3 and 4. Labonte trying to keep it off of him. He got a little tight in the center of the corner, and he had to lift just a hair to keep it off of Stewart. They're battling hard right now. 6 laps to go. Not for position, but Stewart desperately trying to stay on the lead lap. And he is pulling away from Jarrett even with battling with Terry Labonte right now.
Number 20 is still there.
Right front's wearing down. Keep an eye on it.
Mojolan is still there.
What, June 27th? Yeah, so you're only just over a month older than I am, because my birthday's in the middle of August. Oh boy.
All clear, buddy.
5 to go.
5, buddy. 5 to go.
Stewart really blocking Labonte on the inside there. Trying to block him on the outside, too. See if Labonte gets a run down the back straightaway. It's a fun battle, though, right now. I mean, Stewart's not going to catch even the 4th place car if it stays green to the end. It's more if we get a caution than anything else. The thing is, though, is the caution have to come out right now. So once we get to 4 laps to go, they would just have to race back to the caution flag and the race would be over. That's what we saw yesterday at Martinsville. A caution came out with 4 to go that end of the race under yellow. What a tale of 2 stories. 10 cautions at Martinsville yesterday, none today at California. Stewart and Labonte keep going back and forth. Labonte cleared him off of 4. Stewart crossed him back over and clears him off of turn 2. Labonte with another big run in the draft down the back straightaway. And again, he gets to the inside of Stewart. Labonte got really loose
Keep the tires in good shape.
getting into the corner. Three laps to go here at California. Kenseth still only 0.2 of a second behind Newman for 3rd. Labonte into 1 and 2. Slide job to get around Stewart. Stewart again with a crossover to get back on the lead lap around Labonte.
All clear, buddy. Around left.
Big slide going into 3 and 4. Stewart washes up the track a little bit. Contact between the 2 cars. And Stewart barely keeps it off the wall. And so, no, Stewart is in the wall. Tony Stewart did get into the wall. Labonte did barely keep it off the wall, though. 2 laps to go. Stewart's still going to hold on to 5th, just ahead of Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's really lost a lot of ground, but they almost crashed off of turn 4. Very fortunate that they didn't. That was the second time we saw Terry Labonte get hung up on a car like that. He did that with Christian Fittipaldi in the first half of the race, too. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go here at California. Cautions cannot come out on the final lap in these EEA games. I never understood that. Like, even if there was a crash, they never threw the caution. But I kind of like that. Race it back to the finish. Don't let it finish under yellow. I wish NASCAR Heat did that, too. It'd be kind of cool. So only 4 cars are going to finish on the lead lap today in California. Terry Labonte dominated for most of the day. First time running this Looney Tunes paint scheme this year as well. Labonte is on a tear. It'll be 3 wins in a row. 4 of the last 5 he has won. Labonte wins at California.
Enjoy that victory lap.
Big time win for Terry Labonte. He's going to take it into the grass for the victory celebration here today. Well, we couldn't burn the engine out in the victory celebration yesterday. We're going to try to do it today. There it goes. All right. Look at how clean that race car is, though. A little contact with Stewart at the end, but he only hit the wall 5 times in the entire 250 laps today, too. Very clean race for Terry Labonte. No rivals either exiting this race. We had no rivals coming in. That makes it a lot better going into another short track tomorrow at Richmond as well. 4th win of the year for Terry Labonte. After a slow start to the season, took him 6 races to get his first. 4 in the last 5. This might get him even closer to the top 10 in the point standings as well. All at 4 different tracks. 2 half-mile short tracks, a super speedway, and now a 2-mile intermediate. Still has to win on a 1.5 miles yet this year. Take a look at the finishing results to today's race. Labonte led 199 of the 250 laps today, leading the most. Just shy of 200 there. Bobby Labonte led 1 lap in this race, enough for him to get 5 bonus points. And the Labonte brothers, great finish. 1-2 for both of them. It's always good to see the brothers finishing 1-2 right there. Ryan Newman finishes 3rd. He led some laps. Matt Kenseth led some laps early on. He finished 4th. Tony Stewart rounds out the top 5. He also led laps. We also had 16 lead changes today. So, again, we did have quite a few lead changes. A lot of them under yellow and a lot of them in the first 40 laps of today's race. Dale Jr. finishes 6th. He led some laps. Mark Martin, we saw him leading laps earlier. That was who Labonte took the lead away from the first time earlier today. Martin finishes 7th. Dale Jarrett 8th. He did not lead a lap. Ricky Rudd also failed to lead a lap, but he finished 9th. And Kevin Harvick rounds out the top 10. Let's see, Jeff Green led 2 laps under green flag pit stops. I think that was it. Those were the only drivers that led laps today. Here are your DNFs. Sterling Marlin, Ricky Craven, Greg Biffle, Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, Jimmy Johnson all had engine failures. So 2 of the 4 Hendrick cars actually blew an engine. That's tough. Johnson looked fast early on in today's race as well. He was in the top 5, but he did not get the finish. Sterling Marlin has blown an engine 2 straight races now, because remember, he blew an engine late at Martinsville yesterday and blew an engine today. Only 50 laps into today's race, finishes last. So 42nd and 43rd, 2 races for Marlin in a row. That is tough. Ricky Craven looked fast early on as well, was in the top 10. He was trying to go for a 5th top 10 this season, but unfortunately he could not get it done. So a tough break for him as well. Take a look at the upcoming races as well as the point standings here through the first 10 races of the year. So almost a third of the way through the season already. And yes, our first caution-free race of the season as well in the daytime at California. And it was a 500-mile California race, not 400. So that's even more impressive to go 500 miles without a caution. It's the 3rd time we've had a caution-free race on NASCAR Thunder 04 too. Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch the Titans and Ravens game as soon as we get out of here. But we'll take a look at the point standings real quick, and we'll take a look at the upcoming races as well. See how many spots we might have gained. So again, Labonte is 4th win of the season, 3rd in a row. Next 4 points races will be Richmond, and then we'll have the All-Star race on Tuesday. Richmond will be coming up again. Next full race live stream tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Short track racing here on NASCAR Thunder 04. Then the All-Star race will be on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then next Sunday will be at Charlotte for the Coke 600. And then later next week will be at Dover, and then Pocono will be the next 4 points races. 500 miles at Pocono as well. That'll be tough too without stability help. So we'll see. We'll see if we can make it to the end of that one. Matt Kenseth regains the points lead by just 2 over Jr. Again, that is the 5th or 6th race in a row now that Kenseth and Jr. have swapped the points lead. They just keep going back and forth. That's fun to watch between those two. Even though it's early in the year, and you're going to see that a lot early in the season, the fact that it's those 2 drivers every time. And Bobby Labonte, 2nd place, he keeps that run going. Stewart's 3rd in points, Labonte 4th, and Jeff Gordon, after that DNF, falls back to 5th in points. Then you got Rusty Wallace in 6th, Dale Jarrett 7th, Jeff Burton 8th. So, see, again, as mentioned, once we get 12 races completed, so after the Coke 600 and after the All-Star break, we're really going to see who the top 10 or 15 drivers are to fight it out for the championship, because even the top 8 are still within 1 race of each other mathematically right now. Mark Martin's 9th in points, and Kurt Busch rounds out the top 10. Terry Labonte came in 15th in points, and now he gains 3 spots. He's up to 12th and less than 200 back. Remember, he was 38th in points 5 races ago, over 300 points back, but 4 wins in the last 5 races has definitely helped him get back up, and he's finished the last 5 races as well. So it's been 6 races since his last DNF. We'll see if he can keep it going tomorrow at Richmond. That'll be a tougher racetrack for sure. I tended to struggle there in Season 1. So we'll see if we can make it there. I think we actually, no, we won at Richmond season 1. We either won or we had a good finish. One way or the other, we actually ran pretty well. But I kind of struggled there in the career mode without stability helps. And again, we used stability help in season 1. We're not using it here in season 2, so we'll hope for the best. Thanks everybody for watching here today. Again, like, share, but most importantly, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 at Richmond here on Thunder 04. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Maybe enjoy some football games today if you're into that. And again, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Looking at the wrong camera. I was looking at the laptop again. Thanks for watching.